Welcome, everybody, to the Galaxy Unlimited Podcast, Episode 2. Today we're talking about Twilight of the Republic. We are here with my buddy Chansler.
How's it going?
And we are very excited to talk about this set. Today, for what we have on our itinerary, we're going to talk about Twilight of the Republic. We're going to go over the leaders, the bases, the cards in the set, kind of evaluate them from a standalone perspective, and then as well give what we think their place in the meta is going to be. And we're also going to kind of talk about a little bit about our experience, or lack thereof, I guess, with the Planetary Qualifier that just happened this weekend.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer that we weren't able to go. One of the reasons why I guess I would just kind of segue into it, I would assume.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
I just felt very unprepared. I didn't feel as if my decks would perform the way I would want them to, or that I would even know how to play certain matchups. Like Han Yellow is a really tough matchup for Vader, and that's what I was actually going to plan to bring. I should probably start there. But, just the not having enough knowledge of other decks really kind of what's the word? Maybe not want to go. There we go.
Yeah.
Say it like that.
And I'm kind of in the same boat as Chancellor. I feel as most of you know, we talked about it in the last podcast. I feel very competent and confident with Palpatine Vigilance in particular. But my matchup experience with other decks is just minimal. And I just, again, didn't have the confidence I felt like I needed to go. We just didn't have enough time to play test over the last 2 weeks. It's just been, crazy with life stuff, and as it sometimes happens. But yeah, so it's just been really busy. We haven't had adequate time to test, and I just didn't feel confident in going to the qualifier, which is a bummer. But at the same time, Twilight of the Republic pre-release is only a week away, so we're really looking forward to that.
Yes, it's one of those things where I haven't really been able to think about anything else other than building clones. So, that being said, I don't know. I'm just ready to talk about it. I'm ready to, buy some packs of the new set. I'm ready to play in the pre-release, which I'm hopefully going to be going to on Friday.
Yes, I will see you there.
Other than that, I guess we can just jump right into some of the cards if you want to.
Absolutely. Let's get right into this thing. One last tidbit about the Planetary Qualifier before we start talking about the leaders. We do have several friends that made it into the top 16 of the Planetary Qualifier that just occurred, and we're hoping to bring them on so they can talk to you guys about their experience. So look forward to that in the future.
Yes, thank you for reminding me. My brain's kind of fuzzy right now.
We had some technical issues. Not that that's super relevant to you, but so we're a little befuddled. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started with the leader breakdown.
Really quick, what's your mic set at?
I can turn it down.
Just a little bit.
All right. How's that?
I think that's good. All right.
All right. So the first leader we can see from Twilight of the Republic, part of the starter set, is Ahsoka Tano.
Yes.
Don't know how relevant Ahsoka is going to be in terms of like a meta impact.
I opened up the wrong one.
She's aggression, heroism. Coordinate, this unit gets +2/+0. So when there are her and 2 other units on the field, she will become a 5/6 with no other abilities. I don't know about you, but I don't have too much to say about this card in particular. I think Ahsoka overall won't present too much of a meta impact, I guess. I think her front side is better than when she's deployed as a leader, actually, because she taps to attack with the unit and gets +1/+0 as long as you have coordinate active. So giving boosted attacks is nice, but
I think this is like the newer version of what Leia was.
Yeah.
And it buffs for the attack, but Leia also lets you attack with 2 units. So I do think Leia is better all around than Ahsoka Tano's leader card, as well as the fact that this is going to be one of the starter deck leaders.
yes.
So, I mean, it is definitely a starter deck leader.
Yeah.
It's not very powerful. I feel like it's very easy to deal with. And it'll be cool to collect just to have Ahsoka Tano. but I do definitely think her card is better than the leader card. Her unit card's better.
Right. And I think you said it perfectly. I think this is very much a starter deck card. I don't think past the starter deck it'll have too much of an impact. It's a cool leader. It'll be fun to play with for folks who really enjoy aggression heroism, but outside of that, I don't see this card impacting too much. However, her starter deck adversary, General Grievous, General of the Droid Armies, I do see having a meta impact.
See, that's so screwed up. Way to go, Fantasy Flight. Just make General Grievous just broken.
I love this card, by the way.
It's great.
Cunning Villainy. His hero ability is Action Tap. Give a droid unit Sentinel for this phase. And if you're familiar with Star Wars Unlimited, Sentinel is probably the most important keyword. Very, very impactful.
That is disgusting.
Yeah.
Give a droid unit Sentinel. See, and I think this is where Overwhelm is going to play a huge part in this next meta, because can you imagine just swinging, like, we'll just say anything really, something giant into a 1/1 and not doing any damage? It's just like, oh, that's cool. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks
just like I have a million chump blockers, your move.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so General Grievous Overwhelm is going to be very big against him. So I think double green decks with stuff like Timely Intervention into Overwhelm. Or I can see General Grievous having a bad matchup into another one of the heroes we're going to talk about, Maul, Arrival in Darkness.
Yeah.
I can see that being a bad matchup for General Grievous because your 1/1 battle droids are just getting overwhelmed over the top of.
Yeah. And again, I do think that Fantasy Flight did a really good job at trying to balance the power levels of these, but there are obviously just... Villainy is just getting really good stuff, and it has since the first set. But, they're trying to do it right, which is great. I do, I guess we'll segue into from the Grievous, unless you have anything else to say.
Just his on-attack ability. So he deploys on 6, and then his on-attack ability is actually even better than his hero tap. You may give a droid unit +1/+0 in Sentinel, so it does a little extra damage back for when they attack into that Sentinel unit. Really excited about this card. But yeah, we can go ahead and move on from the General.
Well, yeah, so so stupid. Give it a +1/+0 in the Sentinel this phase on attack. And just using him as an example, like Mace Windu, right? So we're just going to go to the most powerful one of the most powerful in my opinion.
Definitely agree.
As an action, 1 resource, deal 1 damage to a damaged enemy unit. Then if it has 5 or more damage on it, deal 1 more damage to it. So, I mean, it's a way to try to pick things off. I don't really think that's necessarily the greatest. But it's the when deployed, deal 2 damage to each enemy unit.
Yes.
Or to each damaged enemy unit, I should say. So,
yes,
I mean,
goodness.
It can, if you play it right, because it's red, or aggression, heroism, you can play it in a way that might be able to wipe the board. Droid tokens are 1/1s anyway, so, I mean, yeah, they'll just die to the 1 damage if you pay it. But I mean, for those bigger units that are just like, man, we need 2 more, 1 more damage, 2 more damage, whatever the case may be. You flip Mace, and I think you do okay. Yeah. The fact that it flips on a 7,
I think that is the biggest, I guess, downside for Mace Windu. I think it's a very strong leader, dealing that 2 damage to each damaged enemy unit. That doesn't restrict to ground units, by the way. It's every unit. But deploying on 7 is a long time to wait for your aggression leader in particular, I think.
Yeah. You got to run green.
Yeah, you definitely got to run green with Mace Windu, I think. Because otherwise it's just coming out too late.
Yeah. And just the style of deck that usually aggression command has is you have some spot removal, right? So 4 damage here, 2 damage here, whatever the case may be. I mean, you're playing Wrecker, obviously.
Yeah.
But why, if you're going to run Mace, why don't you just run Sabine Green?
Exactly.
Right? So it's one of those things where you're just like, cool, that's a great leader. Be a shame if I had Sabine Green.
Yeah, it's like Mace Windu, this absolute sick Jedi Master, purple lightsaber. His lightsaber card, which we'll get into later, is incredible when you attach it to him. However, he deploys on 7, which Sabine can usually kill the opponent on 7
easily.
By the time they get to 7. So
half the time you don't even get there.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, nice leader. My Sabine deploys on 4.
Yeah.
So this card is really cool. I can see it potentially taking some rogue spots in the meta, but when there's just so many other better options for aggression, heroism specifically, I just don't see it being, the bee's knees, I guess.
Yeah. I think the second leader, though, that I do like, and I don't even know if Mace Windu would necessarily be the most powerful heroic leader at this point. Like, I know I said it, but I think that's maybe like everybody else also saying it, and so it maybe like influenced what I was thinking for a second. But Yoda.
Oh, Yoda.
Oh my God. So I know everyone's like, it's kind of like a rogue thing. Well, of course it's a rogue thing, but if you listen to our first podcast, I'm like a rogue fanatic. I love
God,
rogue decks. And rogue God. Yes. So the fact that Yoda, right, he does deploy on 7, but when you're playing Vigilance Cunning or Vigilance Command, 7 is nothing. No. And so you play a control matchup. Yoda is a control leader, period.
Yes, 100%.
You can play maybe kind of like a mid-range to control deck, but realistically, you're just trying to go late game. So the action, if unit left play this phase, draw a card, then put a card from your hand on top or bottom of your deck. So you get a cycle just for an action. Doesn't cost anything.
I love that ability.
So basically, if your opponent has the initiative and they kill your unit, and you're like, well, that sucks.
Well, damn.
Yeah, you literally can go, okay, well, I'm going to draw a card, and then I get to choose a card in my hand to put on the top or bottom. Not that card, a card.
Any card.
So you can be like, this card sucks right now. Or, I don't need this. Why is it even... You can necessarily argue that it'd be good just to resource those, which is true.
It's true.
But when you're digging, especially like later in the game, you're trying to find that big bomb answer to respond. And this gives you that option to, respond with a Luke, respond with an Obi-Wan.
Right.
Whatever the case may be, to do something pretty good.
Right. And I think Yoda is one of those cards that you really enjoy seeing because it, one, hand fixes. It cycles through your hand as long as you keep using the ability. But it also synergizes with its deployment effect, which is also exceptionally good. So do you want to go over his deployment ability?
Yeah. Here, sorry. 1 second. I'm trying to... All right, so the deployment ability. When deployed, you may discard a card from your deck. If you do, defeat an enemy non-leader unit that costs the same or less than the discarded card. Now, people have already asked, I'm a part of some of the judge stuff for like Facebook and Discord. And this has already been something that's been talked about where it's like, well, what does it mean you may discard a card from your deck? Do you get to choose whatever card? It's like, no. So what it's referring to is just the top card of your deck. Just like how Chopper says you discard a card from your opponent's deck, right?
Right.
It is talking about the top card.
Yes.
Now, if it said you may search your deck and discard a card, then it would be anything, which would be busted.
That would be
kind
absurd.
of cool.
Oh
I mean,
gosh.
it's Yoda. I would accept that. But
they better make it deploy on like 8 or 9 or something if he's doing that.
Yeah, exactly. So how this would work is it works very well with R2-D2. So if you have an R2-D2 on board,
yes,
and this kind of maybe presents you to keep one on board late game even, you get to use the deployed, Yoda, right? So you can look at the top card. Sorry, I just kind of lost my train of thought. You can look at the top card, be like, yes, this is what I want to do. Or if it's like a really low cost, you can go, toss it. And then you're kind of playing the chance game, no pun intended. This is exactly a leader that I might be playing. So, it just gives, it gives you a deployed unit, a 4/9, which is already huge.
Yes.
Right? The 9 booty is like Yoda is packing.
Big old booty.
The Restore 2 is great, but the ability to defeat the enemy non-leader unit that is the same.
Mm-hmm.
And traditionally in Vigilance Cunning decks, you are running 7-drop, 8-drop, even 4s, maybe 5s now with the new Jedi support coming out.
Right.
Like, it's just... I think this deck is going to be... this leader in general is more underrated than most.
I agree. Yeah, I think that synergy with R2-D2 combined with his own like draw and hand fixability just makes like that defeat trigger when he's deployed just so impactful, because you're basically, if you think about it this way, you're basically playing a leader and playing Vigilance at the same time. And also Yoda has Restore too. So in your control deck where you've taken a lot of damage, he can later on help restore some of that damage after he defeats something. So yeah, I think Yoda is actually really strong. He's got some tricks up his sleeve for sure.
Well, and the idea too that Cunning Vigilance, I think, has a better matchup against things like Sabine Green. Like for Cunning Luke, it's a Vigilance, Cunning, Heroism Luke deck that I play. I actually have a fairly decent matchup against Sabine Green. And don't get me wrong, everyone's probably gonna be like, "Oh, whatever, dude."
Yeah, whatever.
But like, don't get me wrong, Sabine Green is just gross, and so it does win a majority of the time. I would have to say. I can't be.
I play
false.
Palpatine, so I'm basically a free win for all the Sabine players.
Yeah. But the ability to have removal in both yellow, so Cunning, and Vigilance is disgusting, including the removal that's being printed. So I'm so happy to talk about most of these. But again, I'm happy with this leader. It flips on a reasonable, one less than Luke.
Right.
Or one more than Luke, excuse me. But, I mean, with what you're doing, especially if you run command, oh my gosh. So you can ramp with command, you can make your units cost less, and then you can do this. And so it's just like cool stuff.
There's a lot of tools in the Yoda deck. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting leader. That one is, I think, more of a wild card. We'll see how impactful to the meta exactly Yoda is, but I don't think he's like an Ahsoka. I don't think he's like a rogue strategy. I think he will be there. I think Yoda will be there.
Yeah, I think especially now that Heroism has like a legitimate control leader, I think it's pretty sweet.
Yep. Another kind of heroic leader that I want to touch on really quick, that I think was so close, so very close to being very good, was Obi-Wan Kenobi, Patient Mentor. His hero ability is action, heal a damage from a unit. Kind of underwhelming, not going to lie. Actually, very underwhelming. I won't sugarcoat that aspect. But when you deploy him, he deploys on 7, which is also a bummer. I think he is the first leader we've got that has the Sentinel keyword, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he does have the Sentinel keyword.
And then on attack, heal 1 damage from a unit. It can be himself. And if you do, deal 1 damage to a different unit. So I think this card was so close to being good. That tap ability on before he deploys just needs to be stronger. And I think he needs to deploy on 6 and not 7. And this card is like in there.
Yeah, well, I mean, if there were better cards that would allow you to give shields, like I know there are some, but like multiple shields.
Yes.
Or something that would just protect your units even more. I think healing 1 damage at a time would be just fine. And maybe 2 is overpowered. I mean, like, we could always just be funny and be like, well, let's just act like it is 2 and play test it, But, I just, with the 7 defense, 4, like, I don't know. It's just the worst version to me of his actual unit card in set 1, where it's just like, I am a Sentinel dude, and I also give experience tokens and
draw you a card.
With a Force unit. So it's like there's so much more upside to playing that than there is to even playing Obi-Wan.
I definitely agree. I just think this leader, well, Obi-Wan, I mean, cool character, right? Iconic character. But I just think the leader card is a little underwhelming and a little understated for deploying on 7 and just doesn't have enough of an impact to the board when he deploys. So, like, think about it this way. He's Sentinel. That's great. Sure. But when Yoda deploys to the board on 7, he's defeating something. He's not just sitting there waiting for his attack trigger to go off.
Yeah.
And even his attack trigger is arguably, Yoda doesn't have an attack trigger, but even Obi-Wan's attack trigger, I think, is just a little underwhelming. Dealing a damage and healing a damage is like fine, but it's not necessarily answering the board, especially in like turn 7 when you're deploying him. So it's just the card's a lot underwhelming. I wish he was better, but I think he was very close to being good.
Yeah, I definitely think like he sets up the ability to be able to trade one card for a card.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, at this point, like we only have board wipes that are legitimately and board wipe as in like destroying all the units or doing a massive amount of damage is in villainy.
Yes.
So overwhelming barrage, villainy.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other one? Super laser blast.
Super laser blast.
Villainy. And so you got to pay out aspect penalties to be able to use those cards. Where, like, if you're ramping with this card, maybe it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like, there's just better options.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, definitely agree. I think one we can touch on really quickly because there's not too much to talk about. I think everybody knows how threatening this card is Maul, Arrival in Darkness. This card is going to be very good.
Yes.
Aggression, villainy, attack with the unit. It gains Overwhelm by tapping him on his leader side. Deploys on 6. When he's a leader unit, he has Overwhelm, and each other friendly unit gains Overwhelm. So I think everybody has pointed out the synergy between him and Darth Maul Revenge at Last, which is a 5/6 that can attack 2 units at once. So attacking 2 units at once with Overwhelm, that's going to be a lot of damage. So interesting leader, strong card, looking forward to it.
Yeah, and personally, I think I'm just going to throw that Maul and the Maul from Shadows into my Vader deck just because.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? I maybe Maul's better than Vader. That's something that we got to kind of think about, right? The actions attack with the unit, it gains Overwhelm. Mm-hmm. So you always have an opportunity to do some kind of damage, depending on, especially because a lot of these Sentinel units have a low butt, right?
Yep.
They're little, but they're just annoying.
Yep.
Pike Sentinel. Thanks for Pike Sentinel. I appreciate it.
Shout out to Pike Sentinel, my boy.
The mono green, double green Palpatine. How many Sentinel units it plays? Holy crap. So, I mean, I think this does replace it, and in my opinion, I do like how Vader starts pinging the deck, kind of like a Sabine, and you can kind of sort of control the board with it. Mm-hmm. And then when it deploys, it just becomes a powerhouse because you're just dealing 2 damage. Again, dealing 2 damage. Healing 2 damage would have been sweet. But I think they're both going to be pretty relevant. It just depends on what you want to play.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's benefits and downsides to both Maul, Arrival in Darkness, and Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith. I think they're very comparable, even though they do very different things. And I think it'll be interesting to see which one comes out on top. Because I think they do very, very different playstyle strategies, and I don't think there's a huge power discrepancy. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Another one I think that could have been better, Padme.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, and I know we're kind of jumping from heroic to villainy, but it's fine. It will be okay. Everything will be fine.
And some of these we're not going to spend a bunch of time on because...
I mean, like this, right? Search the top 3 cards of your deck for a Republic card. If it has Coordinate, which Coordinate means you have to have 3 or more units, I believe is what it was. Yeah, 3 more units on the board. Search your deck for the top 3 cards for search your deck, top 3 cards for a Republic card. Reveal it and draw it. I just butchered all that. I need to go back to school. Now, that would be really good if you didn't have to have 3 other units on the board. It does deploy for 5, which is pretty sweet.
Which is cool.
It gets restore 1, but then again has Coordinate on attack. Search the top 3 cards of your deck for a Republic card, reveal and draw it. Mm-hmm. It's slow.
Yes.
It's a mid-range type play.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sorry, right now it's either your aggro or your control. There's really no good slot for mid-range in the meta.
Mid-range just doesn't have the tools right now.
I don't even think it's going to, like, it might, even after this is printed, the set is like released, but I think it's going to take another set of printing mid-range tools for it to actually be effective.
I agree, because I think the argument right now is like, why would I play a mid-range deck when I could play Vader Vigilance or Sabine Green or Grand Inquisitor Double Aggression? Like, it's either aggro, trying to kill you as soon as I can, or control, trying to control the board and take over in the late game. There's just not a lot of room for a mid-range deck right now.
Yeah. One though. So one card that I do think is going to be pretty solid for mid-range, and again, we're just going to segue off of Padme Amidala, is Captain Rex.
Yes.
Captain Rex.
This is your boy.
Yeah. I mean, you do... So there's like benefits and not benefits, right? The action does cost 2. Luckily, you start with 2. But if a friendly... So you can do this on turn, essentially 2, right? And have it be semi-effective if you play something on turn 1.
Right.
Pay 2, exhaust him. If a friendly unit attack this phase, create a clone trooper token. So this can set up for something that's very aggro, because they did print a lot of units that buff clone troopers or troopers tokens or whatever the case may be. So I think that's great. Flips on 5, so and it's a green, right? Command heroic. So you're already running ramp, which is fantastic. You always run ramp.
Yeah.
But when he's deployed, you create a trooper token, and then each other friendly trooper unit, not just token, but unit, gets +0/+1. So
also trooper, not just clone.
Yes. So they, in a sense, your clone tokens are going to be 2 3s, which that 3 extra, or that 1 extra, is pretty sweet.
It makes a difference for sure.
Yeah, it does. With all the overwhelm showing up, it's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, this card is, I think, deceptively strong. I don't see a lot of people talking about it, but Chancellor's heavily invested, because we're talking clones here.
Clones!
But yeah, so I think the interesting thing about Captain Rex is that with his hero ability, yes, it costs 2, blah, 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 but it means you always have a board presence, and it's essentially saying to your opponent, like, every single one of my units I play is a threat, because if you don't answer it, if you let it attack, I can create another one, and another one, and another one.
And the synergy with some of the cards that have been printed. Holy moly, the ATTE, baby. Everyone's like, that card sucks. I'm like, well, you know what? No.
No, it does not.
It's actually a really good card, especially because it's running in heroic, and it's only heroic. And so if you want to run green, guess what you can throw down? You can throw down, this is crazy, a reinforcement walker. Imagine that. Because it's also just command. And then you can be like, oh, they dealt with that? Cool. Here's my ATTE.
Here's my ATTE.
And then they go, crap, it has restore 3. It's huge. I kill it. And then guess what you get? 2 more clone tokens. So I'm sorry for the segue. I just had to say, like, Captain Rex. Oh, I can't wait. I think anything with Captain Rex realistically is going to be sweet. Man.
Let's address that right now, actually. Stop saying ATTE is bad. That card is very strong. Restore 3 on a, what is it, a 7/7 or an 8/8?
Oh, no, it's, here, let me look down on it really quick. I have the whole deal here.
But, like, the thing about Reinforcement Walker is, if you're not ambushing it, it does something immediately. I understand that, yes. But Restore 3 on a big body that, when defeated, gives you clone troopers, that is so deceptively strong, because those clone troopers are, like, added value. They spent resources to remove your threat, your Restore 3 threat, and then you got more units because they defeated it.
Ready? It's a 6/9 for 8, and you're going to ramp into it.
That card is very, very good. Please stop saying ATTE is bad.
Well, yeah, it's and the cool thing too is, like, cool super laser blast.
Yep.
Cool.
Nice.
What's the other one? I just said it like 5 minutes ago.
Oh, I already forgot.
Overwhelming Barrage.
There we go.
Sorry,
Overwhelming
my goodness. I shouldn't have drank 2 of these. Rockstars, my
wired.
God. Yeah. But like those don't matter anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're rebuilding your board is easier with this card.
Yep.
And since again, most games are going to be going into the late game, I definitely think that it goes into somewhat of like a control deck. But I do, like I said, I like mid-range might not have a place in the meta. I actually said it didn't have a place in the meta, even maybe next set.
Yep.
I definitely think that the only contender for a mid-range deck would be something like Rex.
And that's exactly the thoughts that were in my head while we were talking about this. I was like, there's not a space for mid-range right now, but I can see Rex being the one mid-range deck that breaks into the format. Like, it's a very good card.
Well, so is Tranquility.
Well, yes, very true.
Sorry.
That's totally fine. But yeah, Rex definitely has a place. So there's two more leaders that I want to talk about. Do you want to talk about the elephant in the room right now, or do you want to talk about that one last?
Well, since we're on clones, sure. Nalase, baby.
Oh God.
I have so many decks I want to build, man. I'm gonna have to like sell my compound bow or take a second, third job or something. But Nalase, ignore aspect penalty on clone units you play. That is her passive ability when she's not flipped, and her passive ability when she's flipped. A 1/7 when she's flipped. Just so it's already gonna be a pain in the ass to deal with, but. The fact that you can play every single clone as it normally. I'm sorry.
It's unbelievable.
But when you print a card that says you are not punished for shit, it's gonna be dumb.
Also, it's in Vigilance Villainy. Like,
yeah.
Probably one of the strongest color combinations we have right now.
Yes.
And it deploys on 4 as a 1/7, which means it's super hard to kill. Oh my God.
So, like, imagine playing that and then playing, let's see here. Let's see all these cool clones that I can just pull up.
This card.
41st Elite. I think Captain Rex has a unit card somewhere. But he does. You literally just play everything. You play every clone
it's so silly.
that you want. And
tech.
Yeah, tech. Funny aspect penalty.
Nice aspect penalty, dork.
Wrecker, Omega, just in case there's a new card that does shut down leader abilities. We'll talk about that. That's kind of disgusting.
Yep.
But so you run like maybe an Omega or two just in case that card's played. You don't have a way to necessarily remove it.
Yep.
But yeah, like if you watch the live stream like Kyle did, Fantasy Flight Games playing Nalase, it was ridiculous.
It was a bloodbath.
Yes.
Nalase handled that other deck with absolutely no issue. And they were doing, keep in mind, this was not constructed. They were doing a draft with cards that they had just passing around the table. One guy got lucky, pulled Nalase, and that deck handled the other deck. I mean, I think he took maybe 2 or 3 damage. It's insane.
Yeah, so I definitely think that the ability to get this card in your pre-release, you are going to see Nalase, and you are going to see, I mean, Newt Gunray's pretty cool too.
Newt Gunray's sweet, yeah.
I mean, I think everyone talks about him, but
yeah.
You'll see a Nalase Maul kind of maybe dominated pre-release.
Yes.
I don't think General Grievous is going to be in the pre-release
no, I don't.
Kit.
Don't think so. I don't. You get the hyperspace copy of them, but I don't think you can use it in the pre-release sealed. I think, but I don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah. So just to touch a little bit more on Nalase, it's just like you can do anything with this card. You can run aggro clones. You can run control clones. You can just like absolutely slaughter people in the end game with a tech that came out of nowhere from your smuggle. This card is just so good.
Clones. It's going to be great because you can just play tech and then you can be like, yeah, so I resourced this really cool thing called Super Laser Blast. or guess what, guys? You run command.
Hey, check out this Overwhelming Barrage.
Vigilance Command, Overwhelming Barrage. And now, well, I don't think... Well, wait a minute.
Hold on.
I got to look and see about some things here.
But while he's looking that up, I think we've talked extensively about this card just between us two, and I think we maybe share this sentiment, but personally, I think this card might have been a mistake.
Well, thank God all the Republic vehicles, they don't have the clone tag.
Oh, thank goodness.
So, you're not dropping a Tranquility on somebody, or, what's the other one that's pretty cool?
ATT.
The Resolute. I mean, it's a 10 cost, but...
Yeah. Yeah, so that's Nala Say.
Yeah,
Card's insane.
Thank you, Fantasy Flight, for giving me a Meta 1 contender in set 3.
Yeah, basically. You can do anything you want with that one.
Yeah, S tier. S tier for sure.
Yes, definitely. The last one I want to talk about, because I think this leader is really cool. Don't know if it's going to be meta. This one's also kind of a wild card because we've never seen anything like it before, but Chancellor Palpatine playing both sides.
Yeah.
This is a really cool concept.
3 aspect leader, everybody.
Yes. Very cool. I think the only time, maybe ever, that we'll see a deck that can play villainy and heroic unrestricted. So, Chancellor Palpatine does not have a deploy side. He flips back and forth between his heroism and villainy side. So his heroism side reads, this leader starts the game with this side face up, action, tap. If a friendly heroism unit was defeated this phase, draw a card, heal 2 damage from your base, then flip this leader. So he flips to his villainy side, which is Darth Sidious, and it says, hero ability, action, tap. If you played a villainy card this phase, create a clone trooper token, deal 2 damage to each enemy base, then flip this leader. So he goes back to his heroism side.
Do it.
Do it. This card is so cool. I love that they did this. Yeah. So, Chancellor, what are your thoughts on Chancellor Palpatine?
Well, since we share a similar name. No, just kidding. God, if I had a nickel. It's going to be a weird deck. I think it's going to take, honestly, a little while for people to really get the grasp of it. But at the same time, it's one of those weird cards that can just explode.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So it's always the weird things that we don't really expect. And just to be able to, if your heroic unit was defeated, right, which is majority probably clone, even a clone token.
Yep, even a token.
You get to draw a card, heal 2, and flip him.
Yep.
And
Very
so
good.
you're drawing, and again, just run command, guys. Just run command with them because you have green, and you'll be fine. And so...
command's pretty good, turns out.
It's disgusting. And so the ability to draw, heal 2, flip into the create a clone token, deal 2 damage, and flip him back. So imagine you have some board presence, they have board presence, you flip him into his villain, into Darth Sidious, right? So Chancellor Palpatine into Darth Sidious. And you have the option to Overwhelming Barrage before you Overwhelming Barrage. You do something that removes a unit that has villainy. You flip him, you deal 2 damage to something else, and you create a token.
Yep. It's so strong.
So
I think the thing people have struggled with this card is deck building, right? It's very difficult because you don't want to be punished for playing villainy and heroic. So you only get... you do get the aspect penalty if you try to play a villainy card on his heroism side. So you have to be able to flip him before you do that. And I think that's stagnated a lot of people with deck building. The interesting thing about Palpatine is that you can control when he flips, right? You don't always have to use his ability.
yeah.
So you can always play the cards out of your hand. I think people are missing that really important piece of the card.
Yeah, it's not you must flip him. That would honestly, it would have been hilarious. But it's an action. So you get to choose which one you keep, which one you keep. So say you have a lot of heroic, whatever aspect you're choosing to run, then you just leave them alone. And you hope to, that your main deck doesn't need your leader's ability. Because then you're kind of screwed.
Right.
But, and that's where I think it's going to be weird. Because... you're going to depend on your deck, not your leader.
Yes.
And I've noticed that there's a lot of decks, including my own, that really, really do depend on your leader's ability.
Right. It's usually like a build around, right? So I think Chancellor Palpatine brings a lot of unique creative space to the game. And I really, really like this card. I think it's incredibly unique, and it's going to be really fun to try to deck build with. Currently, the first thing I thought of with Chancellor Palpatine was like, oh, you can play 3 copies of Spark of Rebellion, 3 copies of Bazine Nettle, Spy for the First Order, and if you play Double Cunning, you can play 3 copies of Bodhi Rook. So you can just play like this full hand control, this full hand control Palpatine deck, which would be kind of interesting.
I'm glad that you thought about that and put it on the podcast for everyone to know.
That's true. Maybe I shouldn't have shared that one.
No, I didn't honestly think about that, and now I'm terrified.
Yeah, it's going to be... You can definitely play a nasty hand control deck with Palpatine, but I think, like Chancellor said earlier, I think the best color is probably just going to be Command.
Yeah. As
in most decks.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And there are some other units that are, whatever. They're lesser. Quinlan Voss, when you play a unit, you can deal damage to an enemy unit, cost the same. Actually pretty...
Yeah.
I never actually saw that one until just now. So, yeah, when you play a unit, and this happens when you play the unit. You don't have to take another action. You can exhaust this leader. If you do, deal 1 damage to an enemy unit that costs the same as the played unit. Mm-hmm. What's hilarious is... it's when you play a unit, right? So you don't play tokens. Tokens just kind of show up, I believe.
Right. I think that's the ruling, yeah.
Yeah. But I just think it's hilarious. I think it's the ability to just start pinging things and already have an upside. Again, still better than Obi-Wan because
poor Obi-Wan.
This is just a ability that does not require you to take another action. It basically goes on to what they refer... I can't remember what they referred to it as, but they do not want to refer to it as the stack.
Yes.
But in a way, it's like a hidden ability that sees the trigger and then happens after everything else has happened.
Right.
Similar to, again, for you Yu-Gi-Oh people, if you're coming back over, it's similar to like chaining, right?
Yep.
Everything has to resolve, and then everything that triggered can resolve if it's...
And then it's another trigger.
If it's able to. So.
Yep.
It deploys on 5. Great. When you play, and then when it deploys on 5, this is when you play a unit, you may deal 1 damage to an enemy unit that costs the same or less than the played unit. Now, this doesn't just happen once per turn. It does not say once per turn. It just says when you play a unit.
Right.
So when you deploy him on 5, or you say go late game, you can just start playing units and just start doing damage.
Silly.
So,
Silly.
I think if you play this card with like a lot of Sentinel stuff, it'll be pretty fun.
Yep. I don't want to go too long on just the leaders, but there are some other interesting
we're like
ones.
40 minutes in.
Pre-Vizsla is interesting. Saboteur is always a dangerous keyword to see on a card. Mm-hmm. I will be playing Count Dooku 100%. I love that card. I think it's very unique. But it's not like... So we'll get into the cards that he's going to be played with. So I think Count Dooku is very strong. I'm going to be jamming that deck a lot. Mm-hmm. But yeah, well, for the purposes of this podcast, we'll just move on. So the bases, I'll just run through them really quick. Yeah, Petronaki Arena, Pow City, just give boost to either your health or your damage. Not that interesting. Shadow Collective Camp, when you deploy a leader, draw a card. Don't really have to explain that one. Card advantage is nice. Card advantage is good. Refilling your hand, very strong.
Yep.
The most interesting one probably is Droid Manufactory. So it's 24 health base that when you deploy a leader, create 2 battle droid tokens. Building board presence in a box. Yep. Very good.
I do think it's kind of weird how they were like 26 health, 24 health,
30.
So it's like, I thought you were just going to stick to 25, 30. Like, my brain cannot comprehend this 26 weirdness.
Right.
But at the same time, I think it adds some cool dynamic to the game that'll... Like, I'm sorry, but Twin Suns, you run Pow City and then the arena, because each leader unit and then would get +1/+1.
+1/+1, yep.
I think it's fantastic.
It's very cool. Okay, and with that, we are finally going to get into some more exciting stuff with the cards in the set. Oh, I've been looking forward to talking about these. God, these cards are sweet. You got one off the top of your head that you want to take a look at?
Oh, well,
Is it a clone?
Actually, no. It's just Malevolence.
Oh my gosh, yes. Let's just talk about the elephant in the room. Huh?
So, give an enemy -4, -0 for this phase. It can't attack. It cannot attack for this phase. So you are preventing a unit from attacking. You have Restore 2 on a 7/7 with Exploit 4.
With Exploit 4.
Exploit means you get to basically sacrifice or exploit a unit, destroy it, defeat it, whatever, and it costs 2 less. Can anyone do 4 times 2 is 8? So you play this for 1, and you can do this on turn 2.
Want to know the disgusting part? I've been building with this card, or I've been deck building with this card out of Aspect because you can play it for 3, which is not that expensive.
Yeah, 3, 5, whatever. Like you can play the Malevolence with just because of the Exploit 4. It's nuts. Yeah. I think that's crazy. And
Malevolence is going to be in a lot of decks. We will shout that out right now. If we're wrong, we'll eat a card or something. I don't care. We're not going to be wrong. This card is going to be everywhere.
It is. And which is, again, something we'll kind of jump into near the end of the podcast to see what's like relevant now that's out there. But yeah, I think it's pretty good.
One of the other cards I think we should talk about is a 7-resource green card, Clone. This card is dangerous.
Yeah, because it enters play as a copy. So what they would refer to as your ETB triggers.
Yes,
happen.
They happen. You are entering the battlefield and getting the trigger of whatever card you just cloned.
It's.
This card's dangerous.
Very. And
it's in command.
Yes. Yes, it is. Again, everybody, green. Green is the key.
Yeah.
You know what card I didn't see? Is the Zillow Beast.
Yeah, this card's cool.
10/10, when played, give an enemy each enemy ground unit -5/-0. And in the regroup phase, or when the regroup phase starts, heal 5 damage from this unit.
Yeah, basically it's saying you're not doing damage to me this turn.
Why? It's a 9-drop. This is like, yes, there's another 9-drop, 10/10, called Crate Dragon. Ugh. But this right here is such an asshole. Because even the little guys, if you drop this dude, they're not going to attack it. They can't attack it because they have -5/-0.
They can't damage it.
So you're going to do like 4 damage to this thing, and then guess what? It's going to go back to being a 10/10 at the regroup phase start. Yeah. It's like...
I'm gonna be real with you. If the Zillow Beast hits the board, if you are not in Vigilance, you are never killing this thing.
No, yeah. You have to have some massive damage or massive presence on board to even try. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this card, if it strikes the board, like this is the first card I think I've seen where it might be worth Galactic Ambitioning this card out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This card is like... They are just never killing it if they're not in Vigilance. What are they going to do? Ambush it with a unit? Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, cool maul.
Yeah,
nice 7 damage. I'm going to heal 5 of it.
Heal 5 of that after this turn.
It's like, you better be packing some heat, you know? And, gosh, man, I could go all day. I mean, there's so many cool clone cards as well. Yeah. Advanced Recon Commando, 4/3 with Overwhelm. Admiral Yularen. What's up?
What's up, Yularen?
Restore 1. Each other friendly heroic unit gets +0/+1. So fantastic.
He's going to talk about clones. I'm going to talk about droids. Yeah. General's Guardian, I think, not a good card unless you're in Grievous, and then you just give that thing Sentinel and you're making 1 million battle droid tokens. Hell yeah.
Yes. Yeah, again, like... I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I would probably rather play tons of sealed events. Or even draftable events, probably more sealed.
Yeah, more sealed.
Than draft. To be able to just really, really love this set. But like Republic Arc 170, it's a 3-drop, 3/4. Vanilla. But a 3/4 in space, that deals with everything.
Yeah,
like every small thing that you want to deal with on turn 3, or turn 2, excuse me. you're just going to drop a threat like that, and they have to deal with this vanilla unit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it had an ability, this thing would be a legendary.
Yep.
It would have to be, because
Yep.
it's so good for the resource cost.
Heroic got some more good removal in Hello There.
Yeah.
Hello there.
Yeah.
Choose a unit that entered play this phase. It gets -4/-4 for this phase. I mean, I think we've determined that giving a unit minus something is like one of the strongest forms of removal in this game because of Lurking TIE Phantom. Yeah, well, we have the same feeling about Lurking TIE Phantom. That card's annoying.
Yeah, it is. But, I mean, also the fact that they just... Where's that card at? I'm trying to find it. They've printed a card that does that. It turns everything that you control.
Yeah. Double Vigilance, right?
I think so.
Equalize?
Yes.
Yeah, that card. That card's interesting.
Yeah.
I like it. There it is. Give a unit -2/-2 for this phase, and then if you control fewer units than the unit's controller, give another unit -2/-2 for this phase.
So there's that, and then I was actually talking about... Oh my gosh, why can't I find it? It makes your units unaffected. It turns them into the Lurking TIE Phantom.
Yes. What is that card called? It's calculated... No. We'll find it. He's going to search for it. I'm going to talk about more droids. Go
ahead. Talk about droids.
So we have the big exploit ones like Hailfire Tank. They're just vanillas with exploit. Battle Droid Escort is another way to create 1 million Battle Droid tokens. Let's see. What else do we got here? We got the exploit payoffs. We got... R2-D2 is technically a droid, but the new R2-D2 is very, very good. I like that card.
It's very good.
When played, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, search the top 3 cards of your deck for a card and draw it. So it's basically hand cycling for a 2/4 for 2. That's a turn 1 play that like instantly hand fixes, which is nice, as well as discarding stuff. If you're in command, if you're in Chancellor Palpatine, you can Palpatine's return it.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Let's see. Consolidation of Power has a lot of interesting uses. It's basically like a big exploit. Which is really interesting. It's like this card's weird. Consolidation of Power. Choose any number of friendly units. You may play a unit from your hand if its cost is less than or equal to the combined power of the chosen units for free. Then defeat the chosen units. So it's basically like exploit on steroids. Like your stuff that actually has a cost of like 2, 3, 4. It discounts the unit you play by its cost, which is... really, really interesting. I can see Consolidation of Power, just like getting rid of all your stuff that's already damaged or already attacked for a big payoff being like a very strong card. So Consolidation of Power is very interesting.
Yeah. And, man, I'm still trying to find this stinking card. But another one that I was actually thinking of that, or saw when I was looking for the other card, which... Oh, well, now my computer just wants to go crazy. Now there are 2 of them.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
What the hell were they thinking? If you control exactly 1 unit, play a non-vehicle unit from your hand that shares a trait with the unit you control. If it costs 5 less. So now you all those traits like Jedi. Mm-hmm. Or Underworld or Sith or
Force.
Whatever the Force units. Yep, that's a thing. It's going to cost 5 less, and you're playing this for 3. So yes, you still have to pay the additional cost if it costs more than 5. But normally you'll just play something that doesn't cost more than 5, especially in this set that's coming out, and you're just playing it for 3. So you're making the mid-range or the control or those late units more aggro.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that card is definitely going to see play.
Yeah, especially in Boba.
Oh God, don't remind me. Yeah. That card has exceptional potential.
Yep, any cunning deck is just going to get powered correct by this card.
Hey, I found more hand rip cards for the Palpatine deck. You want to see?
Oh yes.
Political Pressure. One resource, choose an opponent. They may discard a random card from their hand. If they don't, create 2 Battle Droid tokens. So either give me units or discard a card, bozo, for one resource.
Disgusting.
Oh, man. That deck, I might have actually created something degenerate. Maybe I shouldn't build this.
You did. There's also the Brain Invaders, the 4-drop 2/4 unit. It's a fringe unit. Yep. Each leader uses all abilities except for epic actions. And that legitimately means just deploying.
Yep, just deploying them. Yeah, that card is... When they printed that, I was actually kind of upset, to be honest with you. I was like, most of my decks are built around the leader. If you just turn off my leader, that's kind of a jerk move.
I think it's definitely a card that will be played in the Palpatine Chancellor, Chancellor Palpatine Darth Sidious deck, because even if your Darth Sidious loses his ability, you're depending on your deck. And if you're depending on your deck in that particular moment... I think you can hurt yourself with it, obviously.
Yeah.
But you're also making the other person have to do it. So it's just kind of...
Yep. I found the card you were talking about. It's called Shadowed Intentions.
Yeah.
It's a 3-resource upgrade. Or no, it's not an upgrade. It's an innate. No, it is an upgrade. Sorry. I'm sorry. Attached unit gains. This unit can't be captured, defeated, or returned to its owner's hand by enemy card abilities.
What's the aspects for it again?
It's just cunning. Straight cunning.
Oh.
So...
Passed 50 times.
Yeah, so this card's going to be impactful. Basically giving Lurking TIE Phantom to your big units makes them insane. I think this card is actually a good thing because it tones down the removal of Vigilance, because Vigilance decks seems to be, aside from like aggro decks like Boba Yellow or Boba Red or whatever, seem to be the more powerful leaning. So Cunning having a straight up counter towards Vigilance decks can be very good.
Yeah.
So Shadowed Intentions, another strong card. We got a lot of interesting ones like Sandhill, Chairman of the Banking Clan, exploit 3 on attack for each friendly unit that was defeated this phase, ready a friendly resource. So very interesting.
Aid from the Innocent, 5-drop, going to be great. Search top 10 cards of your deck. For 2 heroic non-unit cards, and you can discard them. Now, you put the other cards at the bottom of your deck in any random order. For this phase, you may play the discarded cards, and they each cost 2 less.
Holy cow! I missed this card completely.
Of the Rebellion. So for 5, I'm going to be able to look at the top 10, pitch them, and then play them. With the token creation and we'll use creative thinking. Exhaust the non-unique units. Create a clone trooper token.
Yep.
For 2.
Yep, that's a good card.
It just helps you maintain the tempo, and allows you to play stuff for cheaper. I mean, it helps you dig, gets you what you want, and then bam, and it's just a non-unit heroic card. Yeah. So, whatever's in your aspects, you send it.
Yep. I want to talk about one of my cards I'm more interested in, and then follow that up with a card that I hate that they printed. So the card I'm really interested in, and I think is going to be impactful, the Invasion of Christophsis.
Yes!
Separatist plan. Oh. Exploit 4, choose an opponent, defeat each unit that player controls. A one-sided board wipe. The first, genuine one-sided board wipe.
Isn't it just Vigilance?
It's just Vigilance, and it costs 15, but you have Exploit 4. So obviously you're killing your own stuff to wipe their board. You're discounting by 8. This costs 7, which is cheaper than Caesar Blazer Blast, I might add. And it's a one-sided board wipe. This card is very good,
especially if you're creating a bunch of droid tokens or a bunch of clone tokens. Your Exploit 4 doesn't matter, right? Again. Command freaking Vigilance Rex, baby. So you're just going to sacrifice 4, maybe have 5 or 6 on board if you're lucky, or 5 even, play this card, defeat all of their units, attack with your 2/2 clone, and then make another one.
This is another one of those cards where it's similar to Malevolence, right?
Yeah.
You can play it out of aspect, and it doesn't matter all that much. Yes, I'll play a one-sided board wipe for 9. I don't care. I play a full board wipe for 8.
And I'll be honest with you, if you're playing a ramp deck, you will get to these types of numbers.
Oh, absolutely.
For your resources. And so even just getting rid of 2 of them, right? Making it 4 cheaper and
Yep.
playing it for 11
It's
just
still
makes
worth
you
it.
laugh.
Yep. It's like you still control the board now.
You know what's really cool with it? ATTE. Just
Oh,
saying,
boy.
because you're going to be late game, everybody. So you just pop that ATTE, and then guess what? You have 2 clone tokens, and they don't have jack.
It's a little insurance policy.
Yep.
Okay, so the card I want to talk about real quick that I hate that they printed: Confederate Tri-Fighter. Bases can't be healed. 3/3 for 3 in space. Hate it.
Yeah.
Let me heal my base.
Yes. Let me, please. What is it? What is the aspects for that one? Is
It's
it just villainy?
aggression villainy.
Aggression. Of course it is aggression villainy. It's a space unit, right?
Yeah, it's a space unit.
Gross.
3/3 for 3.
So
Bases can't be healed.
all those
Hate it.
Kylo decks that are going to be popping up, or just Boba freaking Red, man.
Boba
Are
Red.
you kidding me?
Boba Red.
Oh my! I'm pretty sure that's what our friend played that got top 4. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure Nick played Boba Red.
Yep.
And if he didn't, I'd be surprised because he just stomps with it. But like, you had all
hate
those
this
other
card.
space units, which already makes the deck more difficult to deal with, and then you're going to add that. Like,
Hate this card.
way to go!
Also, so we were just talking about, now there are 2 of them. This card is a 3/3 for 3 in space that has 4 keywords: Separatist Droid, Vehicle Fighter. Yes, you can't benefit off the vehicle trait, but Separatist Droid and Fighter can all be discounted by 5 now. With there can be only one.
There can be only one.
Now there are 2 of them.
That's
Is
a
what I
highlighter.
meant.
Yeah. Another card just really quick. Gore. Fantastic.
That card's nuts.
Exploit 3, Sentinel, Ambush, Overwhelm. 7/7 for 12. So it's already going to cost 6 less
Yeah.
if you're playing
Exploit.
droids or clones even. Mm-hmm. Probably going to fit more with droids and Grievous.
Probably.
It's going to be more consistent to play it like that.
Yes.
But Sentinel, Ambush, Overwhelm.
It's insane.
Holy crap.
Savage Oppress, Force Knight Underworld, 7/7 for 7. When played, if you control fewer units, including this one, then an opponent, ready this unit. So, interesting thing about Savage Oppress, if you're playing him in Maul, Arrival in Darkness, you can ambush with him with like timely intervention, let's say, if you're in command. And then when you can stack the triggers so that when he's played, if you control fewer units than your opponent, you can ready him so he can attack again with Overwhelm because you're on Maul, Arrival in Darkness. You can get a 7/7 Overwhelm twice.
Yep. And just another one, a drop count Dooku. Exploit 2
that's true.
with Overwhelm. When played for each unit that's exploited playing this card, you can deal damage to an enemy unit equal to the power of the exploited unit.
I forgot about him. I'm not going to lie to you.
The frick, man.
It's a good card.
I cannot stress this enough on how much I cannot wait to play this season.
Oh, I know, yeah.
I like not Count Dooku, just this game in general. Even if I get my ass kicked, all the rounds that I'm playing in, I don't care because I'm going to enjoy seeing one of my favorite time periods of Star Wars start to come to life in the game.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, just like, again, we'll go back to some other ones too. One drop Soldier of the 501st, 1/3 raid 1. What?
Yes.
It's a one drop raid 1.
One drop raid 1, 1/3. That's so good.
Jesse, 3 drop raid 1. Nala Say says, I don't care about your aspect penalty. I'm going to play a ton of really, really, really badass cards. Batch Brothers, when played, create a Clone Trooper token for 3. 2/1. I think it's 2/1.
But Chancellor, wait. Batch Brothers are in aggression. What are you going to do with that aspect?
I'm going to play Nala Say and say, screw that. Like, it's just hilarious.
Oh, God.
And, you have cards like Unlimited Power. I think, I'm sorry, I know we're segueing in like multiple different directions, but like, we're also like over an hour in, so
that's okay.
Unlimited Power, 4 damage, 3 damage, 2 damage, 1 damage. I think that could have been better. I think it could have been like 4 because I mean, dude, he's electrocuting Mace Windu,
especially when in a double aggression. I actually am kind of disappointed that Unlimited Power. I think everybody knew they were going to make a card with that title. Like, of course they are, but they should have made it more impactful.
Yeah, I agree.
Another card I want to talk about real quick that's single vigilance, so he's going to be very good. A 5/7 for 5 with Coordinate. When an opponent plays their second card each phase, you may draw 2 cards. Kiadi Mundi.
Yeah, that dude's like $30 right now for pre-order.
Yep, that card's going to be very good.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And, like, I told myself, I'm like, oh my God, I cannot wait for the new Jedi support.
Oh
Jedi support's going to be great. And then they
And
printed
it's good.
Execute Order 66. You a-holes. Deal 6 damage to each Jedi unit, and then for each one defeated, you get a clone trooper token. Granted, it has a backside to it, but you're just... For 4! So I don't care about your 2 clone tokens if I'm going to kill, or 3 clone tokens if I'm killing Ezra and all, it's like...
That card 100% will see side deck play. I guarantee it.
But like back on the Kiadi Mundi stuff in the Jedi, Kiadi Mundi has coordinate, right?
Yes.
Execute Order 66 loves that because it's going to kill all 4 of your units,
Nice.
and I think it's 4 because he doesn't count himself, does it?
I think coordinate units do count themselves, but I could be wrong.
Cool.
I could be wrong.
I mean, granted, minimum of 3, 4 if we're misinterpreting the coordinate ability, but yeah, it just says while you gain this ability while you control 3 or more units, so it does, I believe.
Yeah, so it does count itself.
My gosh.
I'm not going to talk about this one, but I'm just going to say they printed a new Sabine. Why? Stop.
The Ren? Yeah.
Stop it.
It's not even a force unit, and she's holding a green lightsaber.
I don't like Sabine.
Get out of here.
Stop it.
So my thing is, to me, that's weird.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know much of the story behind that, but at the same time, like, I've watched Rebels. I've watched Clone Wars.
Yep.
I've tried to read some comics and books. Tell me where Sabine has a green lightsaber, please. Where you got this art.
That's what I'm saying.
And why, if they're trying to hint at her being like a force unit, she doesn't have a force tag.
Right. There's a lot of weird stuff with that card. Like, why isn't it... somebody can probably speak to this with more knowledge than me, but why is that card in, like, the Clone Wars set? Like,
true.
Sabine's just a weird inclusion.
Well, I mean, Sabine was in Clone Wars, technically. During the Mandalore stuff.
There you go. Oh, yeah, the Siege of Mandalore. Yep. She was there.
I think
you're right. If we're wrong, somebody will correct us.
Yeah.
I swear. Okay. I've been really wanting to talk about this one. For those of you that can't see me, I'm rubbing my hands together. The Invisible Hand. Oh, I love this card. It's a imposing flagship. It's pure villainy. 8 cost, 4/7 separatist vehicle capital ship. When played, create 4 battle droid tokens. On attack, exhaust any number of friendly separatist units. Deal 1 damage to the defending player's base for each unit exhausted this way. The on attack trigger doesn't matter that much. But when played, create 4 battle droid tokens on a 4/7 in space. Guess what you can do with this? Triple Dark Raid, baby! You can create 4 battle droid tokens, attack with it, get your triggers, do some damage to the base. Then you can return it to your hand and play it again next turn and get 4 more battle droid tokens. I love this card.
So, there's a card that exists right now that gives, I believe, 6 and higher costing cards ambush.
Yes.
We know the card. Some people have an issue with that card, but I
have
love
an
it.
issue with it.
You triple Dark Raid into the Invisible Hand. You create 4 battle droid tokens. You create another 4 the next turn. You're probably already generating more tokens anyway before this with like droid deployment and things like that. So when it attacks, not only you're going to deal 4 damage if they if they don't have a Sentinel, but you are going to be able to use all your little 1/1s and tap them and deal a damage. So it's like they are attacking themselves. That on attack, I do think is actually really relevant because it just 1/1/1/1/1/1, and you're not taking an extra action to do it.
Yep. It is going to be good.
Yeah.
I love this card. I think it's going to be very strong. We can touch on this one real quick. Bloodsport. It's pure aggression, 3 cost. Deal 2 damage to each ground unit. It's going to help deal with tokens.
Yep. But so is Bombing Run.
Bombing Run.
I think that I know it's for 5. But
Captain Rex gives your clones +0/+1, so Bloodsport doesn't even kill him.
Exactly. So you need the bombing run, and Bloodsport's a 3-drop, right? So
Yeah,
you can play it early, and you can help deal with some tokens. And I think that you do play this, but if you really want to prevent like tokens or units themselves, you just play both.
Yep.
You sideboard one or the other, or both of them, and maybe at 2 each into the deck, because it'd be really funny to Bloodsport, deal a bunch of damage. Say it doesn't kill the units, but then you just drop a bombing run, and then it does kill the units, and then it kills all the rest of the tokens because they lose the buffs.
Yes.
Hilarious.
Very funny. I do think Bloodsport in particular is going to see more play against Separatist decks with Battle Droid tokens, because even if you buff them, then you're still only getting the 2 damage, so it's still going to kill them all.
Well, and then Strategic Analysis too. Sorry, another
that card's strong.
Single aggression, 5-drop, late game, Vader Maul, Palpatine, whatever. You're going to play this, draw 3 cards, and still have more than likely 8, 10 resources left to play a threat.
Yep.
Broken.
Yep. Let's see. This one. Private Manufacturing. It's a neutral color. Draw 2 cards. If you control no token units, put 2 cards from your hand to the bottom of your deck in any order. So if you have a token, you can draw 2 cards for 2 resourses. Let's go. I like drawing cards.
Disgusting. And you're going to... Again, I think it's so cool because all these cards... That guy is such a weird looking thing.
I know.
But I think that... This set reminds me of set 1. The idea of it. If you look at the set 1 cards, they all synergize together. It's kind of creating a base. So that way the next set kind of adds some addition stuff onto it.
Yep.
This would be a prime example. Fantasy Flight. Just just throwing it out there. 4 sets.
Yep.
Should make like a block here. Because if you're going to kind of keep this how you're going, like with the idea of having like a set that makes something, the set that supports it, like with Spark and Shadows, then I think you should just keep it at maybe 4 sets for a year rotation.
Right. Yeah, and please only rotate like the oldest set out at a time, because I want to play with like specifically Clone Wars cards for as long as I can.
Yeah. Or just make it not rotate at all.
Or just make it not rotate at all. Yeah.
And just ban stuff.
And just ban stuff. Yeah. I mean, I would be fine with that.
Yeah.
Ban Sabine Green. Do it now. Mr. Bones is going to be good.
Mr. Bones is such a cool looking card.
1 resource, 3/1 Fringe Droid. On attack, if you have no cards in your hand, you may deal 3 damage to a ground unit. Thank God this card is in double aggression, because it would be so annoying if it was in single aggression.
Yeah. I mean, man, we could just go all day.
I know. Yeah, there's so many cards to talk about in this set. And both of us, spoiler alert, we've talked about Star Wars a lot between each other. Both of our favorite eras of Star Wars is the Clone Wars era. The prequels, we just love them. So seeing these cards come to life and being able to play with them is very exciting.
Yeah, and the idea that at some point they might go to the Old Republic. Besides clones, Old Republic troopers, bro. Just a quick lore drop, man. Like when you see a Republic trooper run up to a Sith when it wasn't the 2 rule, and just punches it in the face. You put someone like that beside me, dude, and we're gonna conquer a nation. Like, I'm sorry, but no person in their right mind is gonna run up someone with a laser. I'm not going to say laser sword. Well, I did say it just now. But laser sword, lightsaber. No one's going to run up there with that and be like, oh, yeah, I can totally just punch you in the mouth. They're going to be afraid of getting cut in half. That dude was just like, I don't really care.
I don't care.
Bam.
Whatever.
Anyway, so, again, Kyle was saying, this is, my favorite of all time, period, in Star Wars. And I think it might be mainly because it resembles, a World War II-esque vibe, whereas in 4, 5, and 6, to me, even though they were trying to draw from a World War II aspect of it, the Empire, the idea of Nazi Germany and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything, but they drew stuff from that. They put a lot of political stuff, a lot of worldviews into one movie,
right?
And that was a part of it. I still see it as Vietnam era. jungly.
Mm-hmm.
The uniforms changed ever so slightly to look more, to match the time period, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they officially made Captain Rex canon in 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
Where they're on Endor, right? Is that 5 or is that 6? Oh,
Endor on 6, they're in Endor.
Yeah. So that bearded old man
mm-hmm.
is Captain Rex. I was like,
so awesome.
And then they designed his character to match that in Rebels. I was like, oh, so good. Anyway, is there any other card you want to?
No, I think we've covered the ones that I'm really excited about. I mean, there's other notable cards in the set, like Subjugating Starfighters and Ambush Space Unit. That's going to be good.
Yeah. Well, any kind of flagship, too, from the Republic, right?
Yes, Tranquility. You were talking about Tranquility earlier.
Resolute. Just going to be pretty dang good. Oh, yeah. Is it Sakura? Sakura?
Ayla Sakura?
Ayla, yeah. 6/5. Coordinate on attack, prevent all damage. All combat damage will be dealt to this unit. Great.
One I'm really worried about is Kit Fisto.
Yeah.
7646. That has Saboteur, which is always a dangerous keyword.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he has Coordinate, he can deal 3 damage to a ground unit on attack, which is I'm actually kind of worried about that card. I think Kit Fisto might be a pain in the butt.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome. I think that this set has some pretty cool things. The officials, by the way, I think there might be something to do with that, with the petition the Senate card. If you control 3 or more official units, you can draw 3 for 3.
Ooh.
I mean, there's just going to be some weird strategies that are going to be developing.
It's Roic, dang it.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I'm just really excited. I'm excited for General Grievous to have all the lightsabers.
Oh my gosh!
I'm excited for General's Blade on attack. The next unit you play has 2 less.
I love that card.
Or costs 2 less. The 2-drop Clone Wars. Pay any number of resources, create that many Clone Trooper tokens. Each opponent creates that many your opponent creates that many Battle Droid tokens.
Yes.
So, even if it's late game, you just play it for a lot. Yeah, they're going to get a lot of droids,
mm-hmm.
but if you've done your due diligence and controlled the board, I think you'll be fine.
Right. Yep. I think one of the last ones I want to talk about is Clear the Field, the tactic. Cunning Heroism for 2. Choose a non-leader unit that costs 3 or less. Return it and each enemy non-leader unit with the same name as it to their owner's hands. So it's basically just like a board wipe for tokens if you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also play that in Palpatine. Pretty sweet.
Gosh, I'm just looking at so many clones and just can't wait to play Nalase.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to this.
This. I think everyone always says oh, you're in the golden age, I truly right now, probably for me. But
it feels like it. Yeah.
If you look at it from a perspective of Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, there's plenty more golden ages of each of those games.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
So
there'll be more.
There's endless amounts of potential for this game and for these sets, and I'm glad. And some of the cards, I don't necessarily think that they should have been printed, but I do think that they did a good job. I really do.
Yeah.
All in all.
And I guess I'll take this time to say thank you, Chancellor, for getting me into this game. I absolutely love it. It's really pulled me away from something that I don't actually think was that beneficial for me, which was Yu-Gi-Oh! I think that game just kind of got me obsessed with it, trying to be good at it, and it kind of I don't know, I'm having more fun just playing this game for fun than I was with Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! If I wasn't being competitively successful, then I wasn't having fun with it.
Yeah.
I think this game, even when I lose, unless I lose to Sabine Green, then I don't even feel salty with this game because I just had fun playing.
Yeah.
And so, thank you for turning me on to this game. I absolutely love it. It's got me more acquainted with the Star Wars universe as well, which is sweet.
Yeah, and I'll give a shout out to Nick, man. Nick really pushed for me to join the game and be a Star Wars nerd through and through. And I just want to touch on a little bit of what you said is if you weren't having competitive success, it was like not a good time for you in Yu-Gi-Oh, and I can agree with that. In both Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, and Pokemon, actually, because I played all three of those. Lord have mercy. My wife wants to hurt me every time I come in with a new card game. So, that being said, though, the salty factor, I just want to say this for whoever's listening or maybe need to hear it, including myself. Like, there are some decks that maybe not fun to play against, right? For me, I always lose to Palp Double Green. Sucks, but it's just a good deck, right? Ramps quick, plays big things, steals your crap. A part of that is the way that I need to change my gameplay, right? And I have recognized that. And I try my damn hardest to not be toxic. Yeah. I do not want to be toxic. Yeah. I want to enjoy this game. I want to enjoy the people. They're my type of people, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
The people that bring that toxicity to this game, please check it at the door.
Yeah.
Because
definitely.
I love the fact that everybody, legitimately, win or lose, can leave smiling.
Yep.
Right? The community was so inviting, and like everybody, you know who you are. You helped support my entry into the game. You gave me commons and uncommons to help build decks, which thank God this game relies on that heavily. Even some rares. You helped me with trades. You gave me a little bit extra. There's so many positive things that draws people in. Just realize and remember, please, that just because we might say like, oh man, I played against Palpatine again, and oh my gosh, and, or we played against Being Green again, oh my gosh, or we give those decks a lot of crap, it doesn't mean that like we dislike you, right. And it doesn't just because you want to play those decks, and it doesn't necessarily mean we dislike the deck or the game. It just means that it just sucks for us.
Yeah,
in that moment, because we are competitive, and you can still be healthily competitive. So just, I guess I'll just stop, but at the same time, let's just keep that positive mindset and attitude towards others and respect.
Definitely. To echo what you said before we conclude here, absolutely in love with the game, and the big part of that is the community has been so inviting. Like the play group we have at our local game store has just been so welcoming and like supportive and want to test and help you get better, and like it's just fun. It's just a good time. Even when we lose to Sabine or Palpatine or whatever your Vice deck may be, Great Dragon.
Double Great Dragon.
Double Great Dragon.
Bailey, you know who you are.
It's just like, it's just awesome. We love the people that we get to play with. We love the game, and we're going to keep enjoying it for as long as they keep making it, I think. So, that's right. Thank you, Fantasy Flight Games, for creating something that we can all enjoy and love, and send that sponsorship email to us whenever you get the chance.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be awesome. So thank you guys so much for listening. This has been another fantastic episode of the Galaxy Unlimited. I know it was a bit of a lengthy one, but we just we raved on it a lot, so I won't rave on it some more, but we just love the set, love the game, so we're really looking forward to it.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Peace.